Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Builds Show, the founder of Property Junkies, a general contractor, and the author of the ebook, Flippin' Rich. Welcome to the show, Shauntell.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so happy you're here. So I was just like beyond impressed with because I do a lot of research about my guests and, look over their history. And we have like such a similar path, interest, and kind of what we've done. And I just kind of want to hear, what led you to maybe your first deal. It sounds like you've done a lot of flipping. And so where did that interest come from? And give me a little background.
Okay. So how I initially got into construction, I did commercial. What I did was I used to be an estimator, and I would itemize all the projects on bigger construction jobs. So I went off to doing that on my own, secured a couple of my own bids, started doing a couple other deals. First, I started off doing supply, then I did playgrounds, then I started remodeling courthouses, and I kind of went from there. So I got screwed on one deal that kind of put me in a discouraging situation, because anyone who knows about commercial construction or government contracts, you have to wait that 30-day period after the entire job is complete. So you're putting up all of your money up front. So sometimes that could be stressful. And however, this guy had asked, hey, can I get an advance? I'm going to finish the job at this date. And, we had a working relationship at the time. I did not see him, screwing me over. However, I got screwed over.
Oh, no.
I know, right? So from there, I'm like, I can't do any more jobs where I'm not getting any money up front. So I took on some small remodel jobs for an out-of-state investor in New Jersey. So from there, I'm remodeling from him. Everything was working good. He got overhead on some of his deals. And so from there, now I'm not getting paid again. I'm like, this thing right here isn't going to work for me. So I already had owned, I think, like 2 properties. So one of my tenants moved out. I remodeled that. I sold it. From there, I took that money, brought another one. And then that's how I got the name. I created Property Junkie, because it didn't matter what it was. If I could afford it, I was spending my last dollar on it. So that's kind of how my journey went getting into construction, and then on to home remodeling, and then flipping. And then now I'm trying to teach people how to get flipping rich.
Right. So you just kind of, tell me what the price ranges are where you live. Because I'm thinking, we're in California, it's hard for people to start buying a property. And if they don't have, a regular job, and sometimes you make 10 grand, sometimes you make 30 grand, sometimes you make no money. How long did you do that, flipping, and what was some of the numbers and the cost?
Well, so when I got started, let me think of the exact year. I probably acquired my first property 2012, 2013. So back then, I was already helping other people find deals. I was wholesaling before I even knew
what wholesaling
was, because I would find deals for like $5,000. My very first house, I think I got for like $9,000 specifically, maybe like in some change. But that house today is worth like $165,000. So had I knew what the market would have came to today,
we should have kept them, right?
Way way, way, way more. And I probably would have held on to a few. But so I bought that property for 9,000. I think I ended up selling it for like 60 or 70, somewhere around there. But the market was so affordable at that time. I could do one deal. The amount of money I'm making off of one deal would put me in position to buy another one.
Right.
Now, my lowest price range I'm buying stuff is like 40. And then I'm having to put at least another 40, 50 into it.
Wow.
And then selling it for like in the 160s. But
how are
yeah.
you finding your deals? Like, what do you do to find a deal besides hustling?
So yeah, pretty much. So I would like stalk the market. It was my Instagram at that time. Like it was really, really, really sick. So I knew other people who did real estate investing. And so if I would find a deal, I would be like, hey, if I find this deal, you got to give me $1,000 or $1,500. And I would already had called the realtor and set up everything for that person. And I would say, hey, I know where something's at. I know where something's at. And then from there, people would call me like, hey, someone's grandmother is selling this house. We know you buying houses. You want to buy this. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, no, not at the time, but I got somebody who does. So I would have been an awesome, awesome wholesaler if I took it more serious
yeah, sounds
than
like
what I have. But from time to time, I do some wholesaling, though. And not like I'm physically looking for those properties, but people call me and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, somebody just called yesterday. Here you go. Let me make my little $5,000 to $10,000 off of nothing.
Passing the deal on. So when you bought that first deal, did you do like the work yourself on the remodel, or were you running the job? What were you doing?
So I was acting as the GC. Physically, I've never really done the work. I know exactly how it needs to be done, though. So I'm more of the overseer. I always challenge myself and say, I'm going to try to do some, and I have done some things. I'm not going to say that, but like minimum dry lock paint, a little bit of trim, maybe put some flooring down.
I always say, like, you got to know your gift. And I'm like, my gift is telling people what to do and organizing and detailing and like knowing what comes when and what comes after. And although I could go do it myself, like I learned early on that like that wasn't the best use of my time or my money.
Absolutely agree with that.
When you're the only one that can do the work, then you're the only one that can do the work. And then you can't get multiple deals going. You have your general contractor's license, is that right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So when did that come into play? So you started the deals in like 2013, and then how many flips happened?
I physically had my license probably 2013 or 14. It'll be 9 years. Well, in May, it was 9 years.
Wow. And how did you do that? Did you get your license in Ohio? Is that where you got it?
I'm licensed in Ohio. So I took online coursing for construction and business management. And then I acquired my license with the Ohio requirements. They aren't as technical as some of the other bigger states that makes you go to school for like 4 years. Yeah. You have to have a bachelorette. It's not all that.
What made you want to do that or have that license? Like, was there something that it was like, I don't want to have to depend on somebody else, or I want the knowledge?
I think what happened was I had a job that required it. And so I'm like one of those people who are like, oh, I can do anything. Like before I got into construction, I would have every training, every trade. Like I'm just one of those people who I'm not going to go to other people to get things. I'm like, how can I do it so that I can make all the money? Like, so being one of, having that mindset when a job came along that said requirement has to be contractor license, I'm like, this won't happen again. I'm going to get my contractor license. So immediately I got online, start taking the stuff, and it really, sparks an interest for me. Me and my biological father don't have like a really, really close relationship, but he is a general contractor. And it just like, it just is crazy to me that I actually love everything about what I do, and that somebody so close, does the same thing, but I did not learn it directly from him. So it's kind of weird,
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of. I think it's just like one of those things.
Yeah, I think when you're built that way and, whether you knew that or not, that's a cool path to go down. So with the government contracting, I've tapped into a little bit of this in the RFPs, and I saw on your website that you have, like a little RFP course. Can you explain to people like maybe what an RFP is? And I don't know if you still do government contract stuff. I know it's like so much paperwork and, a lot of opportunity, but a lot of work. Do you still do it? Kind of what is it for people that have no clue how to even get a government contract? Just in a little, you don't have to go into crazy detail, but.
No, right. So a government contract and an RFP or a bid, a RFP is a request for proposal. And so what they have to do is they have a duty to send out this job to give equal opportunity to anyone in that field. Because let's just look at it from an outside perspective. If they just hire top box companies on every job, then us small business owners, and not to say I really don't like calling myself a small business, but in reality, we're probably still like, small business.
Yeah, I think it's
owners,
like under 4 million, something like that is a small business. I don't know. Yeah. I still qualify.
So with saying that, it puts you in a different category, and we would never really get the phone call because we know we can't compete when it comes to marketing. 9 out of 10 times, we always are competitive in price. And sometimes we can do the job better as well. So they made it like that so that way everybody has the equal opportunity to come to this project, and people aren't saying, hey, it's not fair that only this company gets to go after that, or you guys are only calling them. So that is why they have the request for proposals. It is a very, very long, detailed process that requires a lot of reading, a lot of knowledge on a lot of different subjects. So it's going to set you apart from being a small business and knowing your business as well. Because they're going to challenge you on some things that you need to know if you're in that field, and ask you questions when you're completing that application that if you don't qualify or if you don't have, then you're not that person for that job. So I kind of look at it 2 different ways. It's either going to prepare you and make you better. Like I said, being in the business, I was doing it, but at day one, I wasn't a contractor. So it took for me to get to a step in the road and not be able to do something to be like, you know what, now I have to take this extra step so that I'm doing better in my business or presenting myself and my company as an entire better look, or knowing a little bit more than just, like you said, knowing the hustle or knowing how to do those things. So
do you still do government contract work?
I don't, but if I see something attractive that I know I can make money off of really quick, then I will do it. I kind of just got away from it. I'm super duper duper busy with flipping, and I'm going back to school. I haven't even told anybody. So to be a construction engineer so that I can start building. So it's funny that you tell me that I watch you do that stuff, and it's just like, wow, I think when you're in this business, that's kind of like your end goal. Everybody wants to be, well, I would think everybody would want to be a builder, You start off remodeling, then you flip it, and now that's kind of like the next step for us.
Yep. Yeah. Development and new builds. And well, the RFP and, government contract stuff, it's like, it is complicated, and it's sometimes it's over my head. And, I have lots of people around me that do it. And it's just this, if you guys, if listeners want to know more about it, maybe, you have like a great little video or class on your website, right? To be able to
it's a webinar that I did that we recorded. So it's a replay. And I kind of walked down a lot of like the terminology and different things. And Or they can do like a one-on-one consultation because every single RFP is different.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you never really know
What you're going to get.
but and
Absolutely.
you have to read those contracts because a lot of it is like, in layman's terms, it's just a lot to read. So it kind of deters people from even wanting to go that far. But it's still something good to do if, I personally think it's easier ways to make money because you still have to put up all your money first.
Right.
But it is good money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do pay well. That's for sure. So with all of your flips, like what does life look like right now for you? In terms of how many properties are you flipping? Is that like your sole focus right now? Is just like how many are you trying to do this year? What does it look like?
So right now, I currently am doing 4 properties. I'm going to stop. I was going to be doing 5, but I'm going to stop because I'm pregnant. I'm about to have a baby next month in July.
Oh my gosh,
So,
congratulations.
thank you so much. Another boy, 4 boys.
Oh my goodness, 4 boys. That's incredible.
Yes. So after that, I'm going to go back and continue to flip. That's my goal through school. I got like a year and a half. I start back in September. And then as soon as I get my degree in constructional engineer, I'm going to start trying to do like my first new build and then go from there and see where it takes me. Eventually, I have some plans of moving out of state just because the market here is okay, but I feel like I'm stagnated at like a $70,000, $80,000, that are like 5 and 600,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of want that to be like not a gym situation. Like I want to go down the street and be like, oh, this house is worth that. That's worth that. And that's kind of where I see myself going, starting some new builds, probably do like a little small development community, little cul-de-sac type situation, 12, 14 homes, and see where that takes me and then reevaluate from there.
Well, if you need help, let me know. I'd be happy to tell you what I know.
I will definitely look forward to coming to pick your brain then.
And that's honestly like a really great niche is that like, 10 to 20 home infill, land development subdivision, because the big boys, they won't touch it. They gotta have, 100 homes, and it's a little bit more than like the one contractor that does like 1 to 4 a year or something. And so having that nice niche of that like 12, I like the 10 to 12. I feel like that's really manageable and it doesn't take like 6 years to build. You can get in and out in a year. And so that's I like that goal. That's awesome.
That's so crazy because see, I don't know where to start. And that's just my thought process from what I know. Like, I think keeping it at that level will be manageable for me to do something small, cute, really,
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's good to know. Some confirmation that I'm on the right path.
You are. Absolutely. I love that little niche. It's a really good place to start. I think the first one I did was 4. I took like a plot of land and subdivided it into 4, and I had like a little private street and used a master plan, and I didn't design the buildings or anything. I just wanted something that was like easy and I could manage. And, then the next one I did was 10, and then I think it got to 18, and then we did 34. That was our biggest, but I think this is just a really good place to start for sure. If you need help, let me know. I don't know the rules there, but at least it's still the same process, I bet.
Yes.
So tell me about this ebook, Flipping Rich. How did this come about? Why, like how long did it take you to write it? I think it's all like a desire. And like, I feel like in a lot of people's heart to just like write a book about the things that they know and to share. I know it's a part of something that is on my heart. And I know that's also scary to do. So how long did it take you? Take me through that journey.
I don't know the exact amount of time, but I would say about like 2 years.
Yeah, right.
So I have,
especially when you got 4 boys or 3 boys.
I don't know, like one day, like I have this book, it's like blue, and I'll like randomly think of ideas that are like genius ideas. I have to tell you about this. In 2012, I used to own a business called Fast Food Express. And what we would do was we would deliver a fast food. People would call in, place an order and say, hey, I want Wendy's. We would take them Wendy's for a fee. So it's kind of pre-Uber.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, you always come up with these great ideas. So like, as I start getting into flipping and stuff, one day randomly, it just came across like how to get flipping rich. I don't know what I was watching, what I was doing. So I was like, okay, that's going to be what my ebook is called. And so I started writing it, and then I would crumble the stuff up. And then I would be like, that's not perfect. That's not this. Until I organized like my social media and different things. And they're like, it's your first one. It doesn't have to be perfect. You are holding out on all this knowledge, because you're expecting it to be like Barnes and Noble's top seller. And it doesn't have to be that. So I had told myself back in the summer, I said, by this year, my birthday, I'm putting it out there. I don't care if I got 2 pages wrote on it. So I kind of pushed myself to, they literally had like books on top of books that I had started writing it. I would stop and I would start and I would stop. So over a course of 2 years, still constantly learning things, I'm one of those people who will go to every convention that is in our field or whatever to learn. I like being, up on the new trends to see what's coming, what new products, what new trades, everything that's me. I'm all about learning. So I use that I've learned in personal experiences and just put it all into a book. And that's how it got created. But I felt like it was something.
Did you do it all by yourself? Like in terms of like the cover and like the chapters and the table of like, did anybody help you put it together, or was that all you?
I did the table of contents. We did have an editor edit everything that I wrote, but from page 1 to the end, I definitely wrote it myself. Now, some of the words, the editor made it sound improper grammar, but outside of that, no, I did everything.
That's incredible. And are you seeing like the fruits of that labor? Are you happy you did it? Would you do it again?
I am happy I did it. I feel like I need to promote it a little bit more. I don't promote. I'm actually working on something else because from the book, I still get like questions like, well, this is the only thing I'm not really understanding about. So I'll tell you a little gem. My next book is going to be called Hard Money is Not Hard.
Awesome. Just to get on like private lending and getting hard money loans.
Correct. So something else, I never used hard money until this year.
Oh, really? So you did it all with your own capital? I'm the same way. I kind of followed that path. Well, I mean, like my goal at the beginning was like, okay, I have to sell all these properties because I had hard money loans at the beginning, but I didn't have the ability to keep those properties. I had to pay off my lender and because I wasn't being able to buy properties for $5,000, our minimums sometimes were, 150,000. I think
a few hundred, right?
Yeah, the cheapest property I ever bought was like 60,000, and that was pretty bad. But
yes,
hard money is. I completely agree. It's definitely an avenue I've used for a very long time, and as long as you have enough experience and you know what you're doing with it, and that you understand that if you screw up, they get paid first. That's
absolutely.
You don't. And I always made sure I had enough money or whatever property I could sell if anything ever bad happened, That's cool.
And I think that's important. Some of the people that I gained knowledge from early on was always like, it's a ripoff, it's a this, it's a that. But like in the beginning, buying houses at $9,000, it probably would have never made sense because our market value wasn't even high enough for their minimum. So it as to why I probably never even paid it any attention. But now with the prices changing and the market rising, I feel like it's just another expense you have to account for. And if you do that, and the numbers make sense, then they make sense.
That's right.
Because it definitely makes sense for you to do 3 deals at one time versus one that you're struggling to do and still can't barely afford your bills.
Right.
So you have to either one, have a whole lot of money or you need to, learn the steps to use this properly, because I feel like had I been using private money some years ago, even if I would have started 5 years ago, once I was very experienced doing this multiple jobs at a time, who knows the outcome of that,
Right. Well,
and granted to say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just wish I really would have, tapped in and learned a little bit more about that back then. Because even some of my clients that I have, surprisingly, a lot of my out-of-state investors are from California, but they would use the money. And I'm just, I'm doing the draws. I'm doing all the work. 2 of them I've never physically met. They literally send me their money, wire it. I'm doing their draws for them. We've never seen face to face. We FaceTime,
Yeah.
And it works because I get the job done for them. They make money and then they're trying on to the next deal. But
you're running jobs, like running flips and stuff for other people too?
Correct. I am. A small amount. Like they have to like beg me right now. Like, look, we'll give you this. So yeah.
You're like, no.
I'm making money on the front, the back, and the middle if I'm doing a deal with you. Like it has to almost be like the same amount I would make flipping my own property. But that works for me, and it works for them too, because think about it, it's a seamless situation. They don't have to come in and pretty much do anything, and they're using private money.
Right.
So it's not even their money, really.
You're like, dang it. I'll tell you, I've come across this lender that one of our friends gave us. It's called Lending One. I don't know if you've heard of it. They're out of Florida.
I just seen them at a conference.
Yeah. So
I haven't used them yet, but I literally have information right next to me for them.
Well, I think you should check it out. And I'm trying to do my first deal with them on a fix and flip, and then I'm going to turn it into like a long-term hold, and they do both. So the terms and the paperwork and the stuff that I've gotten in terms of like, they want to see, your spreadsheet of your expenses, and they'll lend up to 90% of your repair value and 90% of your appraised before your repair value. So as long as it appraises, and sometimes private lenders are like 50%, 60%. So
yeah, that's awesome.
So, you told me that your goal now is to just really like teach and give information. So you do that through one-on-one coaching. You have your ebook. It looks like you have some, your webinars. Why do you want to do that?
Because I feel like a woman never really tells the story of construction. We have you and probably like 2 or 3 other people who does it. So I feel like it's discouraging because sometimes, so I was on the board of like National Women in Construction. You're still not the boss, even though you have a high role in construction. You're not all the way there. And so I did it because I kind of want to encourage people to know that they can do the entire process, be the boss, and have people look. And I feel like it was something that was needed. Also, being a mom, raising kids, like people who do show it, I feel like don't have the family orientation of it. All you see is them working. You never see them, interacting with their kids, or boom, back to the drawing board with an architect, making sure that things fit in properly. So I kind of was like, I feel like it's missing something. And that's where, I was like, let me start doing this, letting them know you can be, a girly girl mom. You don't have to, be like this tough mom that's like, yeah, I'm whatever. I still interact with my kids. I just know when to cut it off, and I feel like I'm a great contractor. The people I work for, they continually want me to work for them again until I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. They're like, what? That's kind of what led me to it. And I feel like I see so many other people with these courses that's not even really in our field. And it just itches me. Like, how are you teaching something you don't even do every day?
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to bring some real authentic knowledge to yeah. So that was my thought process when I'm like, yeah, I want to really be able to help, you know?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's why I do what I do, just like even through this podcast. And, I put on workshops a couple times a year. And I think, getting to the level of like where you're at and where I'm at, where we're managing jobs, and to realize that like, yes, you can be in this industry. And sometimes you don't even have to pick up a hammer. It's about like the knowledge and the management skills and the leadership skills, and knowing that like, yes, I am the contractor on this job, because in reality, a lot of people don't know that like a general contractor is really like the puppeteer. They're the one that is coordinating everything, and your general contractor, you meet with them and they give you the bid and they do that, but then they send in their subs and they coordinate the job for you and they communicate with you. They're your project coordinator. They're like your wedding planner. They're the one that is making sure everything's happening. And it's absolutely what I love to do, and there's also the creative side and the detail side and, the communication. There's so many facets of it that it's like every single day is not the same. But, and there's parts of me that like, I want to go out and I want to like do the work and physically like the other day, I had been sitting in my office for felt like 2 weeks straight because I had so much paperwork to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving the office today. And I like had a bunch of lights that had to be hung up in a property. And I'm like, I'm going to go hang up all the lights, you guys. Like, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me all day because I need to like, do something with my hands. So there's that part of my personality that enjoys that as well. So I just love that you're really trying to give like a clear picture and knowledge and pass that information on. We just need more and more women like you. And I wanted to touch a little bit more on your family life. I think we can't ignore the fact that we're mothers, and I am like completely transparent about the fact that, I'm a mother of 3. They are my priority. They are everything to me. And when it comes to choosing work over my family, it just doesn't happen. I've done it the wrong way for a lot of years, and I don't want to do it that way. I want my kids to know that I'm available and I'm there for them, and I want to do fun things with them. And I don't want to ignore the fact that, we just work and work and work. No, we play too. And we're a family. And yes, you can have balance between the two. What are some of the lessons you've learned, over these, 10, 15 years that you've been doing this about now you're, going to have another baby? What's it like for you to be doing both and be a mom?
So I want to first say that I commend you for saying your whole spiel about being a mother and how important it is, because this business is so easy to get trapped up in. Well, any business that you own. So, anybody who's out there listening, because when you're a business owner, you never stop working. I'm in the shower thinking about jobs, materials, and what's next and who I need to call. So the mental process of like turning off work to turning on mom, like kind of never happens unless you really, really, really dig deep and be like, you know what? It's just not happening today. This is more important. And early on in the start, my oldest is 14. So throughout my whole process, I've been a mom. So I never got that moment to like not mom it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I do regret some of the time that I felt like, well, if I could, work a little bit harder right now, it'll be easier later. And I realized that I was never content at the later mark. You get what I'm saying? I'm always like, well, I want a little more. I want a little bit more. And as we're growing, we want to just be like, let's just push a little. It took for me to kind of sit back and evaluate and say, you know what? You got to take time out for them. So now, like you said, I just prioritize. I'm like, that'll get done tomorrow. Now I'm taking a day off for a week, I'm making sure that we go to Disney a couple times a year, doing other little activities with them, just showing them that, yeah, work is important, but you guys are important too. I'm making sure, well, I always went to like all their games and stuff, but just being more active.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
And
agree. I think when you're wired like you and me, where it's like ideas and creativity and work, and I totally understand the be in the shower and oh crap, did I measure and order all the tile and the the
oh
countertop
my
and the
God.
floor? Like it's constant and it's not anything that is easy to turn off. But I think over the years, what I've realized is that I have to say no because I'm the type of person that I can handle everything and I will handle everything and I'm capable of handling everything. But the problem
that must be
is
a trait for contractors.
yeah. But then what happens is my family suffers when I do that because I'm like, it's so easy to just put that aside. And I think it's just so important for me that like when a job comes up, like you were saying with your investors or whatever, it's like, no, I've realized that the extra money is not worth the sacrifice that happens when I'm crazy busy. Like I have to have my, time on Fridays and my time in the morning and be able, like I make a commitment to pick my kids up from school and to take them to school and to be able to be at their events and whatever they're doing. So it's like, I have to say no to jobs that maybe I want or a job that's just going to be too much at one time. Yeah, I can do that job for you, but in 6 months, type of thing.
And I had to learn that too, because I was always saying yes.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what?
You just feel like
I'm going to still say yes, but you have to wait. So if you really, really want me, then you have to wait like 3 months. And what I found is that it releases the stress from me and you. And I had to realize some things is for you. What's for you is going to be for you. And if they really want you, they'll wait. And that's been happening. So
I told somebody the other day, I was like, I don't have time for you this year. And they're like, oh, we'll wait till next year. And I'm just like, crap, like I should have said, sorry, I can't do it. Well, gosh, Shauntel, I've just totally enjoyed our time together. Can you let the audience know where they can find you, where they can follow you?
Yes. So my Instagram name is Shauntell Elise, getflippingrich.com. And that is all my handles that I communicate through. Have a text number where I send out, like little tips and different deals. That number is 330-583-1382. And I really enjoyed you guys having me on here. Oh my gosh, when I found your page, I'm like, she is so cool. This is so cool. I love the book, everything about it. It's just so much motivation. And then just, inspiring to see somebody doing some of the similar things, but just on a higher scale. Just definitely, we got to give it up for you too. And then definitely having this platform is awesome for up and comings. It's just amazing.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And you're doing incredible things. And I am so proud of your journey. And if I could seriously help you in any way on the next level or the next step, I will give you, just like you, any information I can to help. And I just pray your baby and your birth just goes beautifully and that you just enjoy that baby period because I miss it. My youngest is 8 and my nephew is just 1, but he lives in Connecticut. And I'm like, I need to hold a baby or I'm going to buy a puppy or do something stupid like that. So enjoy the baby phase.
Baby fever is, it's a joy. Like I literally am so excited and just excited to take some time back. This will be my first time that throughout my career that I'm actually gonna try to work. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I'm literally I'm gonna just sit back and just vibe with him.
I think you should. If I had it to do over again in my position now, I'd be like, don't talk to me for 3 months. I'm spending time with my family, and it's like, that's worth every second. And now that your older kids are older and they can be a part of the baby time, I don't know if I could have a baby magically, I would. And I would just watch my older children be a bigger brother and sister and because I know how cool that would be for them. So I hope it goes well.
Really looking forward to that and creating some things while I'm off. finishing some of the things I started.
It's the time when all the creativity and the ideas come, when you're not just flooded with busy work. So I bet some incredible things will come from it too.
Yes. I'm hoping so. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Build swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.